Okay, so let's talk about last night's game. And before we begin talking about last night's game, I'd like to throw out a couple of disclaimers. One, the NBA season is a marathon, it's not a sprint. There's going to be some illusions during watching games in the regular season, and you're going to get all hyped up saying, oh, this team is on an 8-game winning streak or a 20-game winning streak. Clearly, this team is going to win the NBA Finals, or this team is on a losing streak. They're not in the runnings for the NBA Finals. I'm telling you guys, the regulars, you can't determine who's going to win the NBA Finals by watching the regular season. Because the regular season and the postseason, they're two different seasons, folks. All right? Two different seasons. Secondly, everyone was hyping up the Lakers because they felt like the Lakers won the NBA free agency by getting Montrezl Harrell. Clearly, this was a prime time player that a lot of teams could have gotten, or the Clippers just could have kept him by just signing. He qualified for the bird right, and they could have signed him to some ridiculous money that was not going to hurt their cap. They chose not to. There was not a huge market for Montrezl Harrell because of his postseason. And the only team that was really interested with Montrezl Harrell was the Charlotte team. They was going to throw a boat ton of money to just get any player because they're desperate. Michael Jordan and them are desperate. And that's one of the reasons why they said, look, we got to get somebody there, okay, to put butts in seats, all right? And that was really the only team that was really interested in Montrezl Harrell. And another thing about the Lakers, I felt like in free agency, they decided not to chase Rondo or chase Dwight Howard. They let those guys walk out the door, and they perceive as far as chasing the money by going to the Philadelphia 76ers and the Atlanta Hawks. Okay? Two Eastern Conference teams that the Lakers probably are not going to see on a day in, day out basis. All right. And I talked about in free agency how just those two acquisitions alone, I felt like the Lakers lost a little bit by not, getting either or. I felt like they should have really tried harder for Rondo. If it means paying him more, you pay him more. Because look, what you're losing from Rondo and Dwight Howard, they're battle tested, playoff tested, and they got vast experience, okay? And the Lakers Rob Pelinka chose, look, let's get younger, let's get more athletic, and let's just go after Montrezl Harrell and Dennis. Two guys that are younger, but they don't have the experience to back them up. And I talked to you guys how Montrezl Harrell, who's a good basketball player, have nothing against Montrezl Harrell, but let's just face facts. Let's look at his game. He's more of a around the rim type of player. He gets offensive rebounds, putbacks. He's going to give you rebounds, okay? But that's all he's going to give you, okay? That's all that's offered on the paper for Montrezl Harrell. Montrezl, if you're down, you can't really depend on Montrezl Harrell talent to get you out from a scoring deficit. All right? If you need Montrezl Harrell to lock down a defender, he's a defensive liability. Those are two things of which why he didn't get re-signed for the Clippers. The Clippers could have gave him a boat ton of money that wasn't going to hurt them, not one iota, as far as them signing free agents. Okay? There's a reason why they let go of him real fast, real quick. It wasn't the Clippers' loss. It wasn't a Lakers gain. It was a Montrezl Harrell loss. Okay? And when you talk about Dennis, already out the back, they traded for Dennis, Scrotum. And right out the gate, he says he wants to start as point guard. And they allowed him to do it in this game. And if you talk about him as an individual, a decent player, okay, who has some point guard skills, But when they put LeBron at his natural three, you last year when LeBron was playing the point, he would just throw it straight to Anthony Davis, and they will play off one another. And that's one of the reasons why that blueprint was very successful for the Lakers last year. But yesterday, they didn't go for that strategy. Okay, and I think that's more of Dennis Scrotum trying to be Dennis Scrotum, and that's one of the reasons why he's been bouncing around the league. Okay, but like I said, in NBA free agency, I felt like the Lakers in NBA free agency was trying to replace something for those incredible losses of Dwight Howard and Rondo. Now, there's going to be a lot of people out there that's going to tell you, oh, well, look at Rondo and look at Dwight Howard. They didn't play that many games. They didn't play that many minutes. They wasn't really that important, okay? They probably were important in a few games, maybe one series, but overall, they wasn't really important pieces for the Los Angeles Lakers. And I feel like as the season goes on, you're going to see why those two players were highly important for the Los Angeles Lakers. Look, just by them being on the bench, they can just give vast knowledge, criticism, critique, just on the bench for younger players who never played in these types of moments. Just Rondo himself. Rondo is, I feel like when Rondo stops playing professional basketball, he can easily get a coaching gig. The guy's IQ is off the charts. I feel like people sleep on Rondo. And Dwight Howard, I feel like people really sleep on Dwight Howard. He's very knowledgeable. I feel like he'll make a great analyst for Fox Sports 1 or ESPN, whoever. And I feel like they're going to have careers beyond just being athletes, okay? And those additions, you just don't replace them with just anybody, all right? Let's just state the record. This is just one game. The NBA is a marathon. It's not a sprint, okay? Let's just not get all hyped up on one game. But let's look at the tails of the tape. LeBron was just average LeBron at best. AD was struggling, okay? AD wasn't AD like he was last season, okay, which was 72 games ago. Now, LeBron already stated on the post-game show that, look, this is kind of weird. We didn't, our fans, they wasn't there, and we're not in the bubble format, which I felt like the bubble format really benefited veteran teams. Therefore, they don't have to do a lot of traveling. They don't have to move from motel to motel. They can rehab a lot quicker. And they don't have, it's just a moving process that wears down veteran players. They were just all in one setting in Orlando, Florida. I feel like now the NBA they're going to be traveling from city to city. And they're going to be doing the same thing like what the NFL is doing. They might have to delay games if they get a surge of players that's got COVID-19. We got the vaccine. Maybe that players could take if they get COVID-19. It won't be as serious as it was last season, but they're not going to go back into a bubble format. And I told you guys the bubble format was going to overall benefit veteran teams. Now, I also said that the bubble format, a lot of younger players can look at it as when they played in college. Okay, when they played in the NCAA championship, and they would be in one stadium, in one conference. Okay, so that could be, very beneficial for those players. But let's just face fact: a lot of prime-time college players, only played one season of college basketball. They're not going to be vastly. It's not going to be vastly accepted or vastly knowledgeable for younger players, but they could perceive the bubble to that format. But I thought from the beginning it was going to benefit the veterans. Okay, and that's why the Lakers won. Okay, they had a lot of older players who have families, who understood the sacrifice that they was going to accept, and they didn't. They just went on and just played the games. Okay, because they're more in the stage of parenthood. They're more fully evolved as adults. And when you talk about bachelors who don't have families, that maybe have a girlfriend or two, a mistress, baby mama drama, they're not going to gravitate to the bubble format, well, the acceptance of a bubble format, as fast as someone who's veteran, seasonal, and has a family. Okay, so let's talk about the game last night. I felt like Montrezl Harrell, he contributed. Dennis Scrollum, he was very good. But when you talk about the two on top of the heap, which was LeBron James and Dwight Howard, they was mid-average. All right. Now it's just one game. It doesn't mean that's the potential those two players are going to have. And like I said earlier in this video, stars run the league. Okay, and ultimately, we're going to have to wait and see at the end of the season how this fares out. But I feel like the Lakers. A lot of people feel like the Lakers are the fourth best team in the West. I'm not going to speak that to existence. I'm not sure about that, but they're not heads and shoulders better than all the teams in the West. We're going to have a lot of surprises in the West that a lot of people are not seeing. They're not connecting the dots very quickly that I see. We'll talk about that a little bit later. I don't want to make this video extremely long because I want to get into the Brooklyn Nets and the Golden State Warriors. And a lot of people saw this as, wow, is this what Brooklyn is going to be for the foreseeable future? Because they look like a dominant team. All right, Kyrie was Kyrie. Kevin Durant was Kevin Durant. When you talk about the role players, they contributed. But when you look at this game, I feel like this is one of those games that a lot of people are going to hype up, just like the Montrezl Harrell acquisition, and they're going to say, oh, head and shoulder, the Brooklyn Nets are far superior than any team in the NBA. They're going to dominate. Not to mention, they have a possibility of getting James Harden. You're going to add James Harden to that team that's already dominating after one game. And I'm here to tell you, folks, don't fall for the trap. Don't fall for the okie doke. The regular season, the NBA regular season is a illusion. Okay? It's an illusion. It's going to make you think something that's there that's not there. Okay? But what I can take from the Brooklyn Nets, you have constants. You have Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, which, by the way, both of those players had seasons off to really rehabilitate their injuries. But the X factor is Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving. Are they going to be durable? Are they going to be able to play the whole regular season? Because these guys have been proven that they're injury prone. Okay. Kyrie Irving has been injury prone since he's been in the NBA. And Kevin Durant has just started showing signs of being injury prone. And as long as you got those two play, and then not to mention Jordan, he's injury prone as well. When you look at these players, are these same three guys are going to be able to play the whole regular season? Are they going to miss portions of the regular season, how much of the regular season that these two guys are going to play. And that's the concern I have for the Brooklyn Nets. Not to mention the fact they're talking about deconstruction of their roster by trying to get James Harden. They're in the James Harden sweepstakes. And I think Brooklyn will do something vastly stupid just to make Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving happy. More so Kevin Durant, by getting James Harden instead of just keeping the pieces, keeping what they have. I think they have a talented roster that competes in the East, and they can be one of the teams that can represent for the East. Okay, the Philadelphia 76ers may have a thing or two to say about that. The Boston Celtics may have a thing or two to say about that. The Miami Heat may have a thing or two to say about that. But just those three teams alone, I just don't think either of those three teams are on the same caliber of a Brooklyn Nets. But durability is a question mark, a very big question mark for Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant. If they can stay consistently healthy or 80% healthy through the regular season, I think they can do a lot of amazing things in the postseason. Okay, but before I end this, I first like to state this. Look, the regular season is an illusion. You can't believe what you're seeing. Do not look at the stats during the regular season and say, oh, well, this player is doing X, Y, and Z, and you're not factoring in the stats. I'm telling you, the regular season is an illusion. It's an endless forest. It's a hallucinate. The regular season does not represent who's going to win in the postseason. A lot of people, men lie, women lie, numbers don't. Numbers do sometimes lie. Okay? A lot of people from last season was pointing out, well, look at what the Los Angeles Lakers did. They was on a winning streak before they suspended the season. So people were factoring in the regular season when they was going from city to city and they had crowds and such. And they was taking those stats when they suspended the season and they resumed the season in the bubble. And they was taking those stats and taking them to the bubble and say, well, look at what the Los Angeles Lakers did before they suspended the season. Okay? And Skip Bayless fell bait to that. He said, well, look what the Clippers were doing. They were starting to build chemistry. They were starting on a winning streak, and then they stopped the season. So people are taking stats from the regular season that they suspended, and they was applying those stats to the bubble. Look, the reason why the Lakers won the bubble was there was more veterans on the Los Angeles Lakers roster, and they're just settled in life. They're not caring about going to the strip clubs or going to the nightclubs or, being with their buddies or living the bachelor life. I felt like the bachelor life would hurt a lot of younger players, and I was right. Okay? And it was going to benefit veteran players who have families, which I was right. So that's what happened. And I feel like a lot of people are taking stats from last year and I'm trying to apply them to this year. And like I said, the regular season you can't believe the hype on the regular season. This is one game, okay? Let's put a damper on our expectations. This is just one game. It doesn't mean that the Los Angeles Clippers are going to run roughshod in the NBA. But it also does not mean the Los Angeles Clippers are not the best team in the NBA. Okay, just one game. And likewise with the Lakers. Okay, so I think everybody should just relax, calm down, get you a good hot beverage, read the Wall Street Journal or something to calm you down. It's just one game. It's just the regular season. And like I said in a couple of videos ago, I really don't make my predictions until midway after the trade deadline. I start factoring in, look, clearly this team has enough to win the title. But like I said, it takes one winning streak to, change your perspective of a team. One winning streak or one moment. It just takes one moment, okay? And I feel like the NBA regular season, it moves with moments, okay? Oh, by the way, Kyle Kuzma signing that extension with the Los Angeles Lakers, they didn't even start him. To me, that's something that people wanted the Clippers to do with Montrezl Harrell. Look, he's been there a number of years. He qualified for the bird right contract. You can sign him to some ridiculous, crazy money, and it doesn't affect your cap not that much. Look, just sign him, okay? And the Clippers clearly say, look, we're not going to reward somebody that's a liability and has not evolved with when he was with the Clippers, and he has not evolved or changed with the Lakers. Okay, he's still the same player. He's not going to be any better or any worse. All right, and I think that's what's happening with Kyle Kuzma. Look, he's been on your roster enough for you to know that this is what you're going to get. Okay, he's a streaky shooter. Some nights he will shoot the lights out in the gym, and then other nights he's non-existent. And Kyle Kuzma could have really helped the Los Angeles Lakers last night, but they was trying to come back from behind. And, look, I feel like if this team is from what I saw, and look, it's just one game, from what I saw, I feel like this team is in some very serious trouble if they're down. They don't have enough weapons at their disposal to get them out from under. Now, they have enough to make it close, to make it interesting, but you have to understand, LeBron isn't the LeBron of the Miami Heat or his first stint with the Cleveland Cavaliers, where he had that Duracell battery in him when he had endless amount of energy, okay? That's not the LeBron you're going to get. And Anthony Davis is incredible. Okay, incredible. But I feel like just those two players alone, they just don't have enough to, if they're in real deficits, the only reason why they got out of that deficit last night was the Clippers. The Clippers are traditionally known to lose leads. I feel like the difference is this year opposes last year and the year before that year is the coaching. And I feel like Lue is going to get these guys laser focused. I feel like Ty Lue looks at it like this. If we got a team down by 20, and somehow the team gets it close to 10, I think he has a number in his head where he's going to call a timeout and he's going to gravitate the roster in and say, look, guys, we're losing the lead. Let's get focused here. And you got the right coach. This is the same coach that did not take a back seat when he was coaching LeBron. I mean, he literally told LeBron to shut up. You're the player, play. I'm the coach. Let me coach. All right. I feel like that's the type of coach you need for the Clippers. I feel like Ty Lue is going to rise above, Kawhi and his the perks they gave Kawhi. I think he's going to. I feel like the second year with Kawhi, a lot of these players understand. Look, this guy won a championship a couple of years ago. He's going to get these perks. All right. And I feel like people are understanding of that. And as far as Paul George getting grandfathered in on these perks, I feel like the Clippers players, you don't have the players that's raising an eye because Montrezl Harrell is no longer there. of questioning, why does Paul George get these perks? All right. You don't have that distraction in your locker room. There's not going to be in-house fighting. You know, I'm pretty sure Lou Williams and other Patrick Beverly, they're probably looking at this as, why he gets those perks. Okay. But it's not going to affect their bottom line, which is what they're going to, how they're going to perform on night in, night out games. I feel like with Montrezl Harrell, it affected his performance for the Clippers because of he was trying to figure out how did he get X, Y, and Z. Look, you got the distractions out of the locker room. You got Ty Lue. He's more, he's more of a headstrong coach to me, I feel like, than Doc Rivers. And we're just going to see how the rest of this plays out. But like I said, it's just one game, folks. It's just one game. All right. So that's all I got for today. I wish all of y'all a happy holiday. I probably won't be uploading no more videos. Maybe one video next week. Okay. But as far as the regular season go, given recaps of games and stuff like that, I probably won't be on that tip. Maybe here and there. But guys, just support the channel. I will see you guys at a later date. I'll see y'all guys on the next video. Deuces.